Boom! We are back, guys, with another Dark Side of the Ring review.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah. This time around, we got a fucking wild one. We're going to be reviewing the life and legend of Harley Race, which is Season 5, Episode 5. And wow.
Wow, yeah. You best described it as hardcore.
Yeah, I was like, some of the stuff I knew about, but most of it I did not, and I was shocked. I don't even know where to start with this one because it's so fucking wild all over the place. But I will start off by saying that Harley Race, he was born in April of 1943. He passed away in August of 2019 at the age of 76. It says here that Harley Race was an American professional wrestler, promoter, and trainer. He wrestled in the NWA, AWA, WWF, WCW.
Pretty much wrestled everywhere.
Pretty much. And this was one tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You want to talk about hardcore, man. This motherfucker was tough.
The part where he's talking about all his injuries, he's like, I got an artificial hip, I got a rod and 2 pins in my back, and steel plate right in screws in my forearm here. It's like, he was one legit tough guy.
Yeah,
dude.
and he went through a lot.
Yeah. He grew up poor. He worked on a farm, and basically
became a wrestler at a young age.
Yeah, as I said, he became a wrestler before he even had a driver's license.
Right, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
I guess I
was going to say he started off as wrestling at carnivals.
Yeah, he started off there. And they would invite people to come on there and take him.
Yeah, they would. Well, so they said sometimes they put him as a plant in the audience that it seem like that he's one of them, and he's going to go in the ring and fight him. Like if they couldn't get a challenger to step up and fight him, they would pull a plant basically.
Right. So he started out. He was working on a farm, right?
Yeah.
And that farm was owned by
the legendary Zbyszko brothers.
Right. So they ended up training him. Correct?
Yeah, and from what they were saying, they stretched the hell out of him, and they put him through pain just to see if he was actually as tough.
Right.
As he said
to see if he'll come back for more.
Yeah, and he did. And
he sure did. And that's why he's one tough son of a bitch. Because he was put through the shit, and now he came out supreme.
Well, not just that stuff, but then, later on, he had that car wreck with his wife.
Right, with his first wife. When they said he was 17 years old at the time.
Yeah, it was like in the 60s?
Something like that. It was like in the late 60s, something like that, I believe. And she was pregnant, and she passed away instantly in the crash, and he had almost died. But
they said that was wild. They said that at one point they even thought that he was dead, and it wasn't until he actually started moving that they realized that he wasn't dead.
And the doctors wanted to take his leg off too.
Yeah, and they fought like hell to keep his leg, and the one guy said it best that it saved his wrestling career.
Right. And also, wasn't he, when he was wrestling at the carnival or whatnot, he teamed up with this really big, heavy wrestler.
Oh, yeah, Happy Humphrey.
Yeah, that he had to take a mop. Did you see the part where he had to...
they said they had to bathe him. They'd have him lay down naked, and he would wash him with liquid soap, a mop, and a bucket of water just to clean him up to go to the next show.
Yeah, because they didn't want him smelling too bad.
Yeah.
Wow. And even Jim Cornette said, now that's paying your dues.
Yeah, well, I would say.
I would say so too, because I think that sucks, to have to do that. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. That was a big fucking dude, by the way. I think Jim was saying he was around 700 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big fucking dude.
They said they had to drive around in a custom built like Cadillac that would be big enough for him.
Right.
And Harley Race's job was driving him to the arenas and getting his needs or whatnot, and then got tasked with the unfortunate thing of having to bathe him after every match.
Right. Well, which is pretty wild.
That would suck, honestly.
Right. And I remember at one point in the Dark Side of the Ring episode, they were talking about him and a friend during school. He wanted to wrestle his friend, and I guess they skipped school.
Yeah, they skipped a day, and they're just hanging out, and they were like, "Come on, let's wrestle, And they went back to got called in by the principal and asked him why they skipped school, and the guy told him straight up, like, "Hey, we wanted to wrestle."
So he got slapped in the face for that.
Yeah, the principal slapped him in the face. He got so mad that he slapped him in the face, and Harley turned around and decked him and fucking knocked him out.
Damn.
And
Damn.
The one guy said it best, that he said that by the time the principal dropped to the floor, Harley was heading for the door.
Wow. So that's a tough motherfucker if you're like a teenager and you can knock out a grown-ass man like that.
Yeah.
You know that he ain't going to take no shit from nobody.
I like the part where they said that Harley would drive as fast as he wanted to drive. Like, if the speed limit said 70, he thought it meant 90, and you get pulled over by the cops, and the cops would come up all like acting hard, and they would be like, "Hey, can I see your license and registration?" Harley?
Yeah.
Harley?
Yeah, he would be let go a lot. Also, they had his family in there, talking about him and stuff. His son.
Yeah, his son, his ex-wife.
An ex-wife of his that he didn't, I guess, according to her, that he didn't treat her that well. He was verbally abusive and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is not cool and all, because she does seem like a nice person, but you got to understand, at that time, he was probably in good amount of pain, traveling a lot.
Yeah, well, they said when he was NWA champion, he like, hardly ever got like a day off. Like,
right. And plus, remember when they were saying he wrestled 1 hour one day, wrestled 1 hour the next day?
I mean, I know that
day after day.
Yeah, people say, you wrestle for 1 hour, whoopee. It's like...
No, but try that every day.
Yeah,
and your fucking body will eventually break down.
Try doing that one night, and like he said, getting done with that, you gotta go fly out to another town by the next morning.
Right.
Go out and wrestle 1 hour with this guy. To get done with that, go over to Japan and...
wrestle another hour.
And went to that one island, wrestled Carlos Colon for an hour.
Right. Yep. He did say that.
Like 1 hour out of a day.
It's a lot.
But I mean, when you're getting slammed around, plus Harley was no, like easy guy. Like he would get in there and take his bumps. Like,
of course, he would take it and give it.
Flips over the ropes, getting suplexed out of the ring and backdrop. I mean, slammed.
Yeah, people don't realize when they say the shit is fake. I'm like, no, the it's predetermined, but the pain is very real. They're getting hit for real, And some of these wrestlers are very stiff. Like Vader's a stiff motherfucker.
Yeah.
He comes from the Japanese wrestling, and those wrestlers over there are hardcore.
Yeah, and Harley was, like I said, a legit tough guy. He wouldn't, he didn't have he had that look of like,
of course,
I'm a badass, and he had the toughness to back it up, and that's why he held all those championships, and
So at some point in the 80s, he was going to have a match, or he did have the match with Ric Flair, right?
Yeah, at Starrcade of '83 was when Ric Flair won his first NWA championship.
But hours beforehand, Vince had set up a meeting with Harley.
Yeah, trying to get him to jump ship to WWF and
for like $250,000, I think it was.
Yeah, and he was like, hell no,
He wasn't going to do it, and then Vince tries to.
He was a man of his word, saying like, I'm gonna stick it out here. I'm gonna have my match, and what happens. And
so when he goes to leave, dumbass Vince.
Yeah, tries to pull a tough guy move, try to take him,
take his leg out or something.
Like one of those leg takedowns, and Harley just turned it right into a front face lock and basically choked Vince out so he was unconscious.
Pretty much like what you've seen with the Hulk Hogan and Mr. T interview with that what's his face.
Yeah.
That he put him in a chokehold till he's completely out.
Yeah.
So that's what he did.
What was cool about what they said is that Harley could have, he could have killed Vince. He could have.
He could have.
Right then and there. And just think about that. If he would have done that, there'd be no WWF, WCW, Monday Night Wars.
None of that, yeah. He could have.
I mean, without Vince McMahon, who knows what wrestling would have happened with wrestling?
Yeah, we don't know. So.
Yeah.
But he ends up, doing that to him, and Ric Flair ends up winning, but he does end up I think a few years later working, or no, even before that Vince was coming into his territory, which pissed Harley off,
and Harley went to the show to confront Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And he was looking for him, and he was kicking doors down, and had said if they show up to wrestle tomorrow or something, that he was going to kill him, and he wound up setting the ring on fire.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy. He was pissed. And also, one of the matches he had, I guess some guy was harassing his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, and he acted tough, and the guy came up and stabbed him in the back.
Right, yeah. Harley tried to stop this interaction between a guy and a girl, but one of his friends behind him that Harley didn't know about stabbed Harley 3 times, and then Harley ended up finding where this guy lived and started shooting up the house.
Yeah, I love how they first recreated it with Harley taking a pistol over there and shooting it, and then Trevor Murdoch, who was trained by Harley Race, and basically asked him one day, he's like, "Is that true?" He's like, and he just said that no, it ain't true. It was a machine gun.
Yeah, he says it wasn't a handgun; it was a machine gun.
The reaction with him as the thing with the machine gun,
right.
Damn.
That's crazy. What a crazy lifestyle. But a few years later, he did end up working for the WWF.
Yeah, he came in as the King Harley Race.
Right. So he worked there for a while, but he definitely got injured really bad doing a jump on a table.
Yeah, he had a match with Hulk Hogan on a Saturday Night's Main Event, and which was a pretty damn good match. And there was a spot where he's gonna put Hulk on this table and dive on him like a splash or a headbutt or something through the table, and as he come down, Hulk got out of the way, and Harley just crashed through the table.
And mind you that this was a metal table, by the way.
Yeah, this wasn't
it wasn't just a fully wood table. This was metal around it.
A metal table with a bar across the middle of it. And they said when he came down, and it bent the bar to where it jammed him right in the gut, and it said it blew out his lower intestine. Man.
Yeah, and I believe his son found him curled up in a ball on the ground. He thought he was dead, I believe.
Yeah, and this and the surgeries and stuff that he had to have to fix all that. It required several surgeries. He had hundreds of stitches inside of them.
Right. And how long did it take for him? I would assume it was a couple years. Yeah, he had to rest up for that.
Yeah, and he came back and had one more wrestling run, but then he finally got to the point where he realized that he couldn't be that wrestler no more. Right. So he took on the role of being a manager for Vader.
Right. Yeah, they did show that where he was a manager for Vader, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, which was good. I mean, it really helped Vader, and it showed Harley Race didn't really he wasn't scared even as a manager to take the bumps. Like he showed him take those bumps from Cactus Jack and
He was on the episode talking about Harley Race, you know, which is cool.
And but they said it almost ruined his wrestling career by being part of that show, the fake part of wrestling. Like
there was a show in the late '90s. It was showing off like how wrestling was fake and all the
like how things were set up, like how you get cut. I remember
didn't we watch that when it came out?
I think so. Yeah,
I think we did.
On TV or something.
Yeah, he participated in a 1998 NBC special, Exposed Pro Wrestling's Greatest Secrets, and I believe we watched it the night it aired.
Yeah, but I remember thinking, like, I never realized the guy that was talking, like, blurred out and stuff was Harley Race, but a lot of people said that you could pretty much tell. Right,
if you knew Harley, you could tell that it was him. Yeah. And he was asked, why did you do that? He said, well, for the money, you know.
Yeah, the money. He said something like, money overtakes all or something.
Right. I do remember that. That's crazy.
Yeah, because, I mean, people were saying, like, he was such a big part of the business. Like, why would you go out and just expose the business like that?
Right. He did it for the money.
Yeah. I like what the one guy said. He said, like, how do you, like, if Harley would have done that several years prior, he would have had to have dealt with consequences.
Oh, yeah.
But they were like, the problem is the consequences would have came from Harley Race.
Right, because I mean, who's gonna kick his ass, you know?
Yeah, like who are you gonna get to beat up Harley Race?
Right. Like, it's just, it's crazy. But then at one point, which was a really bad incident, I guess he was drinking and he went out for a boat ride.
Yeah.
And he was out riding around, and they said that there was another boater out there, but their lights weren't on.
Yeah, they would park in the middle of the lake with their lights shut off, and which was for some reason that's pretty kind of dumb. You're sitting, there's people out in other boats. Why the hell are you sitting out in the middle of the boat in the lake with the damn lights
right,
off?
Which is not too smart, but it also wasn't smart for Harley to be drinking and fucking driving a boat.
I mean, it's never fucking
right. I don't agree with drinking or driving. Period. That's something that I don't do at all, and I think it was a huge. It was a huge mistake because it cost him a lot of money.
Yeah,
and he could have killed those people and himself.
Yeah, he said he had to pay out like $250,000, which I mean nowadays it doesn't seem like a lot of money anymore. But
it's a lot of money though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, well, back in like the '90s and stuff, like $250,000 was like a shit ton of money.
Right. It was like a fuckload of money back then.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, illness and death is. He was diagnosed with lung cancer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I couldn't blame it because everybody all said that he always smoked cigarettes and cigars and.
Right.
Shit like that too, but.
Yeah, but all in all, I mean, wow, what a hell of a fucking episode.
There was a lot of stuff you didn't even really know about Harley Race.
I mean, I knew about the Hulk Hogan incident.
Yeah, I mean, I knew like everything from like late '80s to like when he finished up his career. Like I know about his wrestling career, but like how he got into wrestling, the carnival stuff, the being stretched and tortured by the Zbyszko brothers, and all that was, and we're talking about him choking out Vince, like wow.
Yeah, had no idea. I was a bit shocked. Got a lot of respect for Harley, man. You got to respect somebody that can go through a grueling lifestyle like that and still keep going forward.
I mean, not just that, but the part about, like you said, that, in that match with Hulk, he blew his gut out.
Yeah.
Like that shows you how tough you are to blow your gut out, take some time off, get the surgery, get it fixed, and then as soon as you could, get like right back in the wrestling ring. Like, right. I don't think I could have done that. I don't think you could have done that. Nope. There's a lot of people that could not do that.
That, or even would want to do that.
Yeah.
They'd probably be like, I'm done, I'll just do something else, because I would be worried, would it happen again?
It's like, look at that. That happened to him. He came back in wrestling. Ric Flair, years ago, he broke his back in a fucking plane crash.
Right.
And then he wound up getting back into wrestling. Like, there's got to be, back then you really got to want to be part of that business if you're going to come back after something like that.
Right. To be a wrestler at a level like that, you got to be tough.
Yeah, especially back around that time frame, like the 70s, 80s.
Yeah, that's when you get really trained. Nowadays is probably not as grueling, obviously.
No, I mean, wrestling just like they got
nowadays they put in fucking like Logan Paul and what's her fucking name, the UFC girl,
Ronda
Rousey. They just come on in. It's like you got to be kidding me.
They're bringing in fucking non-wrestlers.
Yeah, and pushing them to the moon.
Yeah, like not
push them to main events.
Yeah, bring him in. No prior wrestling training.
Right. Well, I think they got some wrestling training. Like I think she got 6 months. Probably the same thing for Logan Paul.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, to be.
But
some of these wrestlers trained for fucking
years before they get anywhere,
and paid their dues and wrestled independent scenes and made their name.
Right. Instead of getting pushed because you're famous in another area, it's just bullshit to me.
You're not just be a YouTube star. The next thing you know is like, oh man, I'm a pro wrestler, baby.
Right. I mean, imagine what Harley Race in his prime would do to somebody like Logan Paul.
Oh, dude! It's like you said about Vince. He would end.
Yeah, he would fucking fold his ass like a pretzel.
I mean, not just Logan Paul.
He would pretzel his ass.
The majority of the wrestlers today,
they couldn't handle the grueling training back then. A lot of them probably couldn't.
Harley Race, if in his fucking prime, would mop the floor with anybody today in wrestling.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean,
all the people that are in wrestling today.
Yeah, oh yeah. Even little 30-second man Brock Lesnar. I'd love to see Harley Race.
Yeah, we could put Harley Race versus Brock Lesnar's prime, and Harley Race would fucking still wipe the floor with Brock.
I guarantee you, it wouldn't be no suplex.
There'd be none of that shit.
No, there'd be punch in the face, knee to the stomach, elbow to the head, chokehold.
And I think also when he was in the WWF, he was called Harley the King. I don't think he cared for that.
They introduced him as the King. First, he was the King Handsome Harley Race, but then they just went with the King Harley Race.
Right, and I don't think he cared for that, but I think he did it for the money, obviously.
Yeah, well, like the one guy asked him. He said, said that he did it. He never bitched about it. He did it.
And that's another thing. I think his wife was talking about, his ex-wife. She said that he never complained about the pain, about this or that.
Yeah,
and he was a tough motherfucker. I mean, because I know Bret Hart, he complains about the shit, the pain and other things. By other wrestlers, they keep it in. Like Ric Flair, he does not complain about the pain, and I'm sure he's in pain every day.
Yeah, and you gotta figure the fact that Ric Flair is up there in like his 70s now, and the fact that he can still walk around
is unbelievable.
like, out of all those years, he took those big, massive bumps.
Yeah.
And
well, he got trained in the hardcore ways as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's from the old school shit, man.
Yeah, but I'm saying Harley Race though, like it's funny, like he played an awesome villain. Like I think his whole career he was always pretty much a villain, and I understand. Look at it now, like I couldn't see him as like a babyface wrestler.
Right.
Like the look he had in the '80s when he had like the mustache, the beard, and the puffy hair.
Right.
Like, yeah, that's the look of a heel wrestler right there.
Oh, hell yeah. Now, is there any favorite matches you have of Harley that stand out? That you liked in maybe the 80s or 70s? Any feuds he had in the WWF in the 80s?
I remember his feud with Hulk Hogan when he was King Harley Race, and
right.
I remember I watched a match that they had years ago. It was at like a house show. It wasn't like a televised match.
Right.
But after the match, Harley Race took his crown and like attacked Hulk with it, kept hitting him, and it left basically Hulk in a damn puddle of blood. Damn. I was like, damn, like they do that shit on a house show. Why the fuck wouldn't you do that like on like a televised show? Like,
yeah, no shit.
Imagine if they would have put that out there for like the world to see, like Harley leaving him in a damn puddle of blood. Like,
that's crazy. But
that would have, that would have really pumped up their feud.
Right. And also, I mean, all in all, what do you think of this episode? What would you rate it? I'm gonna give it like definitely a 5 or a 10, whatever, however you want to do it. I'm giving it a top rating for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would say too, because I mean, it was a lot of.
I mean, this was better than the fucking. Let's see here. Yeah. This was better than the Brutus Beefcake one for sure.
Yeah, dude. What about one thing I forgot to mention? He had a second wife that died.
Did he?
Yeah, you remember at the end where, like near the end of the video, they were talking about somebody, like I think it was like another wife that he had died, like late in life, and he was telling somebody, it's like I haven't cried, like I miss her, I love her, you know.
Oh, I thought maybe they were talking about like when his wife divorced him.
No, that he was talking about another wife that died, like saying that her name was BJ.
Oh, okay.
Or something. And he was saying that, like, he was talking about like he couldn't cry, like, he's like, I love her.
Right. I remember I remember that. And also his wife, after that boating incident, she divorced him.
Yeah, she said she got right on when they said that he was arrested for being drunk and resisting arrest.
Resisting arrest after the boating incident. That's crazy.
And they're saying that she got right on the phone. They told her, like, pack up your stuff and get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And she went out, filed for divorce, and put a restraining order in place against them.
Right.
It's tough though, man. Like, she was saying, like, when they would see each other, just like for brief periods of time, when he would come home for like 24 hours and then turn around and go back to wrestling, like,
right.
It was a joy to have the family together. But when he left a company and he wouldn't go to another company for a while, he would be home, and it would just be like when he's home, it's just like
he was verbally abusive.
Yeah, like he was hard to live with.
Right, right. Well, you got to understand. Like, I'm not condoning that, but you got to understand he's lived the life of a hardcore wrestler. Yeah. It's not easy to do what you're doing.
And not just being a hardcore wrestler, but he's always had that thing of like being not just a badass wrestler, but a tough motherfucker. Like,
right. And didn't she also say she encouraged him to own part of one of the wrestling businesses back, I think, in the early 80s? So he owned a part of one of the wrestling.
Yeah, I think it was NWA.
Okay, yeah.
So she was like, yeah, that was my idea.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he should get what he deserved, and this and that. But it's something, like I said, even after Harley Race's career finished up his wrestling, when I was saying about him managing Vader, like, he still even took his bumps, even as a manager.
Right. In WCW.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him in WCW back in the day. Yeah, he's tough, dude. So is Vader. Imagine if those Vader and Harley tag teamed. Imagine if those guys were tag team partners for a long time.
Yeah.
They would fucking dominate motherfuckers. Dude,
something that wasn't said on Dark Side of the Ring, but I do remember this interview from Mick Foley, what he was saying about doing a match with Vader, but it was like a hardcore match, and they were going to have him like hit Harley Race with like a big ass shovel.
Damn.
And Cactus was kind of like, because he respected Harley Race, and he didn't really want to hurt him, and Harley's old and this and that, so he was in the dressing room practicing on a wall, like hitting like baby shots, and Harley seen what was going, like what he was doing, and came down and he came in and he just grabbed me for like, listen here, you son of a bitch. I want you to give me your best swing with that fucking shovel.
Damn.
And he's like, you don't make it really connect. I'm gonna grab that shovel and I'm gonna show you how you really work somebody with a shovel. And I was like, yeah. So he said Mick was fucking freaked out about it. He's like, at that point, what do you do? The man's telling you to hit him fucking with a shovel, to fucking basically bring it.
Right.
And he said he wound back, he drilled him, and he said at first he was worried about really hurt Harley, and then a minute later he looked over at Harley, so Harley was back outside the ring awake, and just not even said, wow, proved his toughness, because he didn't even really sell it, being hurt. He went down out of the ring, just was up, just holding his head oh, that hurt.
Right, well, he is, like we said, a tough motherfucker. I wouldn't want to be hit in the fucking back as hard as you can with a shovel.
No.
Hell no.
No, he wasn't hit in the back. He was hit right, he hit him right in the fucking head.
Wait a minute. He told Harley to hit him in the back of the fucking head.
No, not in the back of the head. I'm talking about facing, he was going to come at Mick, and Mick was just going to bam.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Mick was worried about it because he didn't want to hurt, he knows that there was no gimmick to that fucking shovel.
It had to have been a real...
Yeah, and he was said he was in his dressing room practicing swings against the wall, seeing how... okay, how can I do this to where it'll look fucking great, but it won't hurt him?
These crazy motherfuckers, man.
Yeah.
I swear.
Well, they talked about another thing, too. That flying headbutt that he would do.
Oh, yeah, they did show that in the...
Yeah, they were talking about, the thing about it, they make it look like he's killing guys with that move. And his son was, saying that, in a way, he barely even touched the guy with his head.
Right, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's cool, because you look back the way he did it, you really thought, oh, man, I bet you he fucked that guy up with that move.
It's just like, didn't Chris Benoit and Dynamite Kid do that same type of move?
Yeah. Chris Benoit, though, he did it with, Harley would just get up on the ring and just basically fall off the ring to do the headbutt.
Right.
Chris and Dynamite did more like a dive off the rope.
Right. And sometimes Chris would be way up. Didn't he do it off of fucking ladders and shit?
Yeah. He did it off the top of a cage in one match.
Oh man!
It was a match against Kurt Angle that they said that he's saying just think of this, Chris just came back from neck surgery,
Yeah.
He's on top of the cage doing a headbutt off the top of the fucking cage on the Kurt Angle.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah, but yeah, that was some crazy shit, man. Like the flying head, like Harley's was more just like get up on the road, like here we go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Right, which is cool. But yeah, I'm definitely giving this a 10 out of 10 episode. Really good.
Yeah, I mean, it had a lot of everything. It had surprises. It had freaking like hardcore. Had sad stuff like his wife dying. That's tragic.
That was a lot of guys. I would say if you lose your wife to something like that, they would probably
not just his wife, but his wife and his unborn child.
Right. And most people, if they had to go through that, I would assume that most guys would probably resort to drinking or drugs to deal with it, or kill themselves.
I definitely would not like just get better and get like, back to wrestling.
Right.
I go.
Yeah, some people would fold after that. They just couldn't deal with it. Life,
Yeah, but Harley didn't let that slow him down. He got back in there.
Yeah, he's been through a lot, man, and he kept going forward, and that's
7 times he was world champion.
Yeah.
That's 7 fucking runs as fucking world champion, dude.
Right. Plus he's wrestling 1-hour matches and shit.
Yeah, that shit. Wrestling hour here, hour there.
Yeah. That's wild, dude. That's pretty wild.
I can understand you get fucking burnt out like that would. Like if you have like 3-4 hour or 1 hour matches night after night.
Yeah, it will get to you.
Yeah, you just be like, oh man, I really gotta go through this again.
Right, you better love the business in order to do it on that level. Yeah. Otherwise, don't, like Hulk Hogan said, your blood better be in it. Otherwise, don't do it.
Yeah, a lot of wrestlers said that same shit. Like Triple H on the first ever Tough Enough deal. Like he told the kids, like if he told the guys don't waste their fucking time. Yeah, either like, you want this or you don't. Something like that. If you don't really want this, then don't waste our fucking time and quit now. Because he told them that he's like, y'all think being a wrestler is all you go and do all these shows, wrestle all these matches, but he gave them the bad side of things. Like if you got a family, you can kiss them goodbye because you ain't never gonna see them.
Yep, and like Jesse Ventura said, you get in this business, it's a life of pain.
Yeah.
So you better be ready for the pain.
I remember Billy Gunn said something about, like in wrestling, like people always say shit about the ring, but like, oh, it looks so bouncy. I just want to bounce on it all day. He's like, trust me, when you're getting slammed on it and you're getting dumped on
night after night,
he's like, it hurts, and he's like, it never stops hurting. You don't get used to that pain.
Right, it's just it's crazy.
Like, people think like, oh, he picks him up and slams him, like, oh, that ain't nothing. But you figure what's underneath. They show you what's underneath what makes that ring.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of padding,
and then a big piece of plywood, and underneath that plywood are just metal beams.
Exactly, and you're getting slammed off of that every night.
Right after that, you're taking suplexes, you're taking body slams, you're doing moves off the top rope. Imagine taking a superplex off a top rope with that fucking style of ring. You guarantee that would really fucking jar you.
Yeah, it's no joke. That's why you better love the business in order to get into it. But anyways,
I don't know what the rings are made like today, but somebody was saying that the rings today are way more like. They're way more safer now. There's more padding. There's less,
it should be that way because these,
Yeah, like if you want your wrestlers to fucking to do that night after night after fucking night, make sure like you don't. And those hard rings. That's why a lot of wrestlers didn't last as long as they did.
Right, because they were getting fucked up back in the day. And
I'm saying now, like, these rings today, you don't really hear people complain about the rings today. Like I think one wrestler complained like that the rings are a lot softer now than what they were back then.
Right.
And he said that like he's like they're a little bit too soft for my taste.
Right on.
You know, because he was used to the old school rings, and you know, he said he took a slam on one of these new rings. It's just like, wow, this actually didn't even hurt. If somebody picked him up and body slammed him in that ring, and he said it didn't even like hurt like what he remembered in the old rings.
Right on. But yeah, we're gonna probably wrap this one up unless if you got anything else to say about Harley Race.
No, just awesome wrestler, you know, legend, multiple time champion and trainer, and
he's been through a lot.
Been through a lot that most people I don't think could be tough enough to do.
Yeah, the average person couldn't do what he's done.
No, I mean I couldn't see a lot of people blowing their whole lower intestine out.
Right.
And like a couple of years later or so, like getting back into the ring, you know, knowing that you know your guts probably no longer going to be the same.
Right. Like
he was fucking. Got back in the ring and wrestled, still taking his fucking bumps.
Yeah, which is crazy. But yeah, definitely, if you haven't seen this episode, guys, you have got to check it out.
Hell yeah, man.
It was pretty awesome, and rest in peace, Harley Race, one of a kind. And he's probably up there, still probably beating everybody's ass up there. Yeah. Yeah, the wrestlers that have passed away, he's up there in heaven, you know, wrestling, beating their asses. That would be funny.
Him and Dusty Rhodes are probably having legendary matches again.
Yeah, and Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
That's wild, yeah. And Iron Sheik.
I bet you like everybody else are probably sitting there still waiting on Hulk Hogan to get there.
Wait till he gets up here, his ass.
They ain't gonna be no more. That don't work for me. That don't work for me, brother.
Right. That's funny. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. That is it for now. We're out of here and have a kick-ass day.